Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me today here for this NXT August 21st, 2019 review. And I know it's been a while since I've done a review or any kind of video in the last couple of weeks, and that's simply because I got sick with another sinus infection for the last 3 months this year. Every 3 months this year, I'm getting sick with a sinus infection. So if you don't see me doing a video or something like that, that's more than likely the reason why. Just to go over a little bit of stuff I'm going to talk about here today, besides just the NXT show on September 18th, there will be a new show on the USA Network with the NXT shows that we watch week to week on Wednesday nights on the network. Will now be on the USA Network for at least 2 hours instead of 1. This could be good, this could be bad. I've begged for a 2-hour show for NXT, but with the hands of Vince McMahon on it, on the product, I don't know about that. Not to mention there is a lot of wrestling involved. There's Raw, SmackDown, and now NXT on the USA Network till October. So there will be a lot of wrestling on the USA Network. A little overkill. Try 7 fucking hours. That's almost an entire workday. That's nuts. So, how was the show? What were my thoughts? Real simple. The main event between Killian Dane and Matt Riddle was a solid show. They did a great job in the main event. They went back and forth. They were hard-hitting. Matt Riddle was working through taped-up injuries with his rib cage from the attacks that Killian Dane provided to Matt Riddle for the last couple of weeks. So, we had that as the main event. Killian Dane wins this match by pinfall cleanly. Now, do I agree with it? Here, yes or no. I don't really think it was a bad thing what they did with the main event, but at the same time, it kind of looks like they're punishing Matt Riddle than trying to make him go through a struggle with Killian Dane and make him look like the underdog against a brute like Killian Dane at this point. So I'm a little concerned about Matt Riddle's status with the WWE, where he's going with his career right now at this point, or is he in a downward trend with the WWE because of the comments he's made about Goldberg and some other WWE legends. So that's just my feelings on the topic. Let me know what you guys think about that as well. We also had the Undisputed Era kick off the show, discussing about their victory with the world title on the line and retaining that. Plus also that the Undisputed Era had some disputes with the results of their championship matches for the tag team titles and the North American Championship. Roderick Strong feels that Dream didn't beat him for the title. He wasn't the victim that ate the pin. It was Pete Dunne, which is very true. So, in retrospect, you kind of have to look at Roderick Strong as the next contender for the North American Championship, which could lead to Roderick Strong winning that championship at War Games. Now, my feelings on this is that they either can do Roderick Strong winning the title from Velveteen Dream on an NXT episode as the main event, or they could go ahead, have the Undisputed Era tag team group with Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish ending up in a double countout for their next episode next week, and make it a overall 4-on-4 War Games match with all the titles on the line, which I would not have a problem with. I've already mentioned this on my review during the NXT TakeOver event that happened in Toronto. So, how I feel about it is War Games should be pretty much focused on the championships for the War Games match. That's how I see it. And then that gives everybody else an opportunity outside of the Women's Championship, an opportunity to shine on this show. for War Games during the Survivor Series weekend. So that's how I feel on that subject. So let me know what you guys think on that topic. What else? We had Vanessa Bourne face Mia Yim in a one-on-one matchup, which ended up with Mia Yim beating Vanessa Bourne in a simple little matchup, and then having Shayna Baszler come out trying to provide an invitation to Mia Yim that she wanted nothing to do with. She was going to invite her to be part of her faction instead of being an enemy. Either out of the fact that she's worried that she could lose her title, which I don't think that is the right way to go with this, or Shayna Baszler has just have respect for Mia Yim and what she is trying to do to go after the world title. I didn't particularly care for this matchup once it happened. I was not very impressed with it. I was excited when going into it, but after the match concluded, I just really did not see the value in what they provided for that match. It was probably Shayna Baszler's worst matchup she ever had with anybody on the NXT roster. I did not particularly care for this match at all. And that's very sad because going in, they were doing it, to me, they did a good job to hype this match up. So that's not here or there. But that's just how I felt about their matchup between each other in the NXT TakeOver event in Toronto a couple of days ago. The Damian Priest was actually faced Mansoor. Damian Priest picked up a very clean victory, and once again, still looking strong and undefeated. Eventually, he needs to face somebody more valuable who's actually on the main roster, per se, of the NXT roster itself. Like, they actually go to the NXT TakeOver events when they happen, and so on and so forth. Velveteen Dream came out later on in this episode. He announced that he was going to compete against anybody that wants the title. Pretty much Roderick Strong, he was directing his whole speech to, and said that you're going to have to bring a lot to convince me that you're a worthy challenger. Well, that is probably going to happen regardless of what he says at this point. Let's see here. What else happened on this show? We had Shane Thorne face Bronson Reed in a one-on-one matchup, which I think is the only other matchup I was missing from this review. And he ends up winning this matchup in a decent, okay matchup. That wasn't all that great, not all that bad either. It was a decent, okay matchup altogether. The overall feeling on this show is it was pretty decent. It had some good build-up towards the next pay-per-view coming up at War Games. But now at this point in time, now that I've gotten everything out of the way with this episode, which was a pretty straightforward episode, nothing to cry home about, but it was okay nonetheless, is the news on NXT going to USA Network for 2 hours on September 18th. I am very concerned about this. One, we got Vince McMahon's going to have his hands all over this. Triple H is not going to have anything to do with NXT anymore, which makes no fucking sense to me. I don't understand the point then why Vince McMahon just didn't have complete reins on this as well during the time it was on the WWE Network. But now all of a sudden he wants complete and utter control of NXT. I don't know how he's going to develop talent, but then again, at the same time, with him being 100% in on the show, he's going to know what's developing his storylines because he's going to be running it. We're also going to see probably guys stay longer in the NXT roster instead of being moved into the main roster so damn quickly it's pathetic. So there are some positives to this, but majority of this is negative. And the reason for that is because Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is the major negativity involved with this whole situation. Now, don't get me wrong, even if Triple H had full 100% control of NXT, and maybe he will. We don't know that. We're not in the company. We don't work for WWE. We just go based off of what we read in the news and the dirt sheets. So, at the end of the day, only Triple H himself and Vince McMahon himself know who's running what for NXT. So, there could be a possibility Triple H is still running NXT only for a 2-hour period on the USA Network. If that's the case, and Vince McMahon has a little bit of keen look into that product, so he knows what the fuck's going on the USA Network, because he pretty much works with the USA Network for their television programming, and he does that, and he just wants to see what's going on and understand the idea and mentality behind NXT with Triple H running it, so that when he brings him into the main roster, people aren't clueless of what to fucking do with him. Now, if that's the case, great. If that's not the case, then we're really in deep shit. Regardless of the fact, if Triple H was running NXT on the USA Network, I still would not be choosing NXT over AEW when it comes on television on October 2nd. I'm not. The reason why I do not support NXT over AEW is because it's like saying I support a minor league league over a fucking big leagues league. That's retarded. From the opposite promotion. So my feelings on this is that I support the main roster, and the main roster I support is AEW. I do not support WWE. And I can't wait for AEW's launch on October 2nd to the TNT network and provide us legit wrestling. Because that's what I want to see. I want to see wrestling, not three-ring circuses with bullshit storylines that go nowhere, mean nothing, and are lifeless pieces of crap stories that don't mean a damn thing to me. And the wins and losses actually mean something within AEW. So, that's how I feel about it right now. Could that change? Yes. Maybe AEW is all full of shit. With all mouth and no go. I don't know. But I will give them an opportunity over WWE at this point, because AEW, at most of its time in these 3 pay-per-views, and now going to be their 4th pay-per-view, have delivered in some case or form of entertainment and provide what they are about: professional wrestling. That is what I'm here to watch. I'm here to watch professional wrestling. Give my viewpoints on it. Give you guys what I want. Pretty much tell you guys what I feel about the shows. And actually watch fucking wrestling instead of being bored out of my mind for 3+ hours. You know? So that's pretty much how I feel about this. Now, I will discuss this in my Random Wrestling Talk episode number 20. Coming up this weekend, I will give you guys that, I promise. I'm also going to provide you guys some interesting information that Chris Jericho said about NXT going to USA Network, and about what Vince McMahon's intentions truly are, and how he is over-obsessed with competing with AEW. That should be exciting to talk about. I'm going to research a lot about that, everything that Chris Jericho has to say, so I can provide you a very in-depth analysis on how I felt with the comments that he said. So anyway, guys, I thank you guys very much for watching this episode of NXT review for August 21st of 2019. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to this channel. And I thank you very much for watching, and have a great night, guys.